Several years ago when I first started this channel, right away I was getting some negative comments on occasion. Typically we get about 95% positive comments and about 5% negative. Right away, almost within that first couple weeks, my wife told me, you're just going to have to accept that. They're going to come. You put yourself out there, they're going to come. And since then, I've accepted it. But I wanted to take a moment and make a top 10 list of the biggest complaints I get, because some of these tend to repeat themselves and some of them are just so outrageous that they're just worth mentioning. So here they are. These are the top 10 complaints that I get on YouTube. Number 1, wearing a suit at the range. Wearing a suit at the range for me started from the very beginning of me going to ranges. Typically, I started carrying at work, and I wear a suit coat at work every single day, all year round. So it just made sense to me to, if I'm going to train in what I'm going to wear, because a suit coat kind of grabs a hold of your shoulders and it tightens you up, and it's really, you kind of got to get used to thrusting your arms forward. It's not an easy thing to do if you're not used to it. So I always wore a suit coat, as well as I just felt like if I'm going to do this channel, I'm going to do it right and dress up, and that's why I always wear a suit coat. So I get a lot of complaints about wearing a suit coat to the range. For all I know, I probably am the only guy in the world that wears a suit coat to the range. Number 2, being boring. Now, I get that quite a bit, and I understand that I'm not a real high energy guy, but I do get complaints that my videos are boring. I try my hardest, and sometimes, honestly, I'm just exhausted, and probably I could put a little more effort into it, but I get that complaint a lot. Sorry about that. This is who I am. If you met me out in the world, you'd know this is who I am. I'm not a real high energy person. Number 3, talking about God. The channel is called God, Family, and Guns. It's been called God, Family, and Guns since the very beginning. Of course, we're going to talk about God. We're going to talk about those 3 things: God, family, and guns. Typically, we do a lot more gun-related topics, but we do talk about God. And we always take prayer requests at the end. But since the very beginning, hundreds, if not thousands, of people complain that I would then do a review of a gun and bring up God. Channel's called God, Family, and Guns. I'm really not sure what to say about that one. Definitely not going to apologize for it. That's what you're going to get if you tune in to God, Family, and Guns. You get God stuff. Accept it or don't watch. Number 4, random incoherent talking and cursing. I get a lot of that. Just sentences that aren't even real sentences. Just a bunch of words thrown together at random with some curse words thrown in there. Now, if I only got 1 or 2 of those, I wouldn't even bring them up. I get a lot of them. I mean, just hundreds and hundreds of just random, really jarbled conversations. I think people get drunk and they get on the internet and they start yelling at people, and I guess they choose me sometimes. Number 5. This one I only got 1 time, but it was in the very beginning of this channel, back when ISIS had a lot of control over the Middle East. They were on the internet recruiting. They had sent me some threats because they wanted to chop my head off, mostly probably because I talked about freedom and guns and that kind of thing. So I guess one of the biggest complaints I've gotten is that my head's attached. That's all I can think of. I would also like to say that I would like to thank YouTube. When I did get that threat and I reported them, they took care of it right away and took that information and sent it off to the FBI as well. They were really on it. Within just a few minutes of me reporting that, that user is really an awful user. But I guess one of the complaints I've gotten is that my head's attached. Number 6, making mistakes. I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. It's just a fact. Oftentimes when you speak, you misspeak, and that happens all the time to everybody. When I was a teacher, I would often tell students, because sometimes I would speak and I would make a mistake, but the next day I would come back and say, hey, by the way, what I said yesterday, that's actually not accurate. This other thing is true. I don't have that luxury on YouTube, so there's mistakes I made years ago that I'm still getting complaints on. I know, chances are if you see it somewhere that somebody has commented that I made this mistake, that I am aware of that mistake as well. Unfortunately, I can't then come back on and say, sorry about that, so I'm just kind of left with those errors. But I'm going to make them. I apologize for those in advance. I do my best to get my research out there and be as accurate as I can, but I'm definitely going to make mistakes. Number 7, not mentioning a certain gun on a list. This I get a lot. I'll make lists of top 10s or top 5 lists, and obviously there's going to be all sorts of options that can go up there, and I get yelled at through messages and comments quite often that I didn't put certain guns up there. And a lot of times there's reasons that I didn't put certain guns up there. But sometimes I just didn't think about a certain gun, or I forgot about a certain gun. I mean, there's only tens of thousands of guns out there. So it's really easy to not get every single gun that a person could possibly think of as the best hunting rifle or the best self-defense 9mm for concealed carry. Obviously, I'm going to miss some things. If I didn't mention your gun, I often say put it in the comments below, because I know I'm going to miss some stuff. And I'm curious what you think are the best. So I always ask for that at the end as best I can. Number 8. I get a lot of complaints that I look tired. Well, guess what? I am tired. I'm a full-time principal and a father of 5. I'm tired. I look tired. It shows my face because it's true. I don't know what else to say about that. Sometimes I have a little more energy than others, but generally speaking, I'm a pretty tired person. Number 9, not mentioning something I did mention. That's about as frustrating as it ever gets, because what I'll do is I'll mention things in a video, but then people will say, well, hey, what about that thing that I actually mentioned in the video? And all that really shows to me is that you didn't watch the video. So hold your comments. If you think I didn't mention anything, why don't you watch the whole video and then say, well, you didn't mention something, because chances are I probably did, you just didn't watch it. And finally, number 10. This one, I've only said this a few times in videos, but man, I've gotten thousands of comments on this that just aren't true. So there's a few videos where I mentioned Israeli weapons or some weapons that the nation of Israel use, and I say that they've been a nation for thousands of years, and people then comment, wait a second, they didn't become a nation until 948. Yes, however, archaeology, history, everything shows that the Jews were in the nation of Israel for thousands of years, long before they were disbanded by the Romans. And so they were there for a long time, literally thousands of years, and then they were disbanded, and then they were brought back in 1948. I know they became a nation in 1948, but they literally have been there for thousands of years. So I get that complaint a lot, and I don't know why. Read your history books, it's pretty obvious. So there you go, there's the top 10 complaints that I get here on YouTube, or at least the ones that stuck out the most. I still get a bunch of them. But overall, fans of God, Family, and Guns are so good. 95% is always positive. I think our latest positive numbers were 96 point something. So thank you so much. We try to be upright and true and righteous as best we can, and as honest as we can. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to not mention certain things. That's just part of being human, and we fully accept it. So keep your comments coming and let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. You can now find us at godfamilyandguns.org on Facebook and on Twitter, and all those links are below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests. Never hesitate to send that stuff in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.